So I think we'll start with Chris. And Chris, I know we've had a lot of CPG conversations around full funnel marketing, and we know that brands are trying to gather as much first-party data and insights about their customers and to unlock more value with their first-party data. And I know that you guys have been at the center of that in terms of working both with Amazon and AWS about how to unlock more value with their 1P data. And I know you've got a good customer example as well. So I thought we'd start with you and talk about maybe Champions Pet and how they're using that first-party data to drive more effective marketing campaigns.
Yeah, great. Hey, everybody. Emily and I are going to work through this. So Champions Pets has a large CRM database and wanted to leverage the data to drive acquisition. So pulled 28 million hashed emails into AMC and with ads started generating insights and looking for what to do to create optimal journeys to drive acquisition but also increase CLV.
Yeah, I think it was really interesting to understand, without even kind of having a plan for activation, what we could uncover about that CRM audience, whether it was learning that there were differences in the two champion pet food brands that they sell in terms of what those audiences looked like, as well as the fact that they over-indexed for being parents. So not only are they dog parents or cat parents, they're also actual parents as well. And then I think the biggest highlight was that we learned that we were only reaching about 40% of the CRM users with Amazon ads campaigns. And so from a retargeting and just keeping those customers engaged from a lifetime value perspective, wanting to make sure that we were activating on that full CRM database to really reach the full extent of those customers and make sure that Champion Pet Food and Dentsu and Merkle, in partnership with them, are expanding that target audience to the best of their ability.
I know you mentioned the acronym AMC. Maybe you could elaborate.
Absolutely. So for those who are not familiar, AMC is also Amazon Marketing Cloud, not the movie theater. Amazon Marketing Cloud is Amazon Ads clean room environment. So it's kind of that one-stop shop where you can really access all of your Amazon Ads campaign data at an event level, do really rich analysis on that data, and then get those exports and outputs in an aggregated fashion so it's all customer safe and really privacy focused.
And I know the acronym for AWS Clean Rooms kind of comes into play. How does the AWS Clean Rooms complement Amazon Marketing Cloud?
Great question. So AWS Clean Rooms, which I think you'll hear a little bit more about after our session, is a neutral, privacy-safe environment and clean room infrastructure that really provides that kind of, I like to say it, a BYO clean room. There's no native data in it available, but it's an AWS service that allows you to collaborate with other partners who have data on AWS. So in partnership, Amazon Ads and AWS actually collaborated to build a solution called AMC on AWS Clean Rooms. A mouthful, I know. And this solution lets our customers and advertisers use their first-party data that sits on AWS. So whether that's Champion Pet Food's CRM data, whether that is conversion data from a QSR brand, from their app, whether that is maybe a travel and hospitality customer like a hotel or an airline or a travel aggregator, having their conversion data and purchase data on AWS, being able to leverage that without actually moving it outside of their cloud environment. So keeps their legal and privacy teams very happy because they're able to actually use that for insights without having to set up any new solutions, move the data, copy it, or really take it outside of anything that they would be doing normally.
Yeah, I think the chief privacy officer sleeps better at night knowing they don't have to move their first-party data. So Chris, I know that some of the best data that marketers have is loyalty data. Some of their best customers and the deepest insights they have is around loyalty. How are customers using their loyalty data along with these kinds of solutions to drive better marketing outcomes?
Yeah, I mean, thanks, Paul. So we're seeing customers use loyalty and CRM data. Generally speaking, a client with a mature program has 40 to 70% of their revenues generated from the loyalty database. So as you can imagine, it's about understanding the customer, segmenting those, based on CLV tiering. 1 might be the lowest, 5 might be the highest. How do I progress people up those tiers? But ultimately, it's really looking at purchase frequency, their response to offers, pre-lapse, if they're not responding to messages, how they're responding to rewards, so to segment the audience. There's also, we're seeing a lot more AI and machine learning to drive next best offer. What's been a big topic lately is how to avoid like double discounting, right? So when should you present a discount or an offer versus some content? It can go further around the top of our most value loyalists may not always be looking for price. They might be looking for content or experience. So back to Champion Pets, right? So raise your hand if you're a pet owner in the room. We at least, okay. Dog owners? Okay, even higher. Puppy has different nutrition than an adult pet, than an aging or a senior dog. And then, of course, you've got the topic when your pet transitions, which most of us have experienced that. There are different stages. And so customers may seek information based on nutritional information, weight gain, whatever that may be, and may need content to actually review, right? It's more than just the purchase. But the biggest thing that I think of value is what we're now describing as kind of like an emotional EQ or ID, where we know the loyalists feel that they have a relationship directly with the brand by studying them, by looking at NPS data, service data, calls to the call center, how they're responding, capturing zero-party data, people telling you about themselves or how they feel, data that you can't purchase. All can be pulled together, and then you can model that on how to create more loyalists from the database.
Yeah. When brands are thinking about, obviously, there's been a lot of CPG brands on stage today, and obviously they need more first-party data because they don't always own the consumer relationship because they're working with retailers. So if you think about how they're making investments in first-party data platforms, what are some of the KPIs that customers use as they evaluate, whether they're investing in a CDP or they're investing in a clean room or a loyalty program or a CRM program? What are some of the KPIs they look when they're putting together that business case?
I think it's generally what we've seen. I mean, first of all, I think it's generally still relatively new that CRM and loyalty data is being pulled into something like AMC or a clean room, and then pulled back through for insights, for ads. And it's going to grow tremendously, but it's typically CLV, right? CLV, no question about it. Much deeper insights on tiers of the database, how I move somebody from a lower tier to a higher tier through purchase frequency. It's absolutely, they're looking at how to harvest product feedback. So some of the more advanced marketers will do first release, VIP, new product offers, samples in box, and start to harvest information back to then improve campaign journeys over time, engagement and response rates, how the different audiences respond. All of that really is pulled back together to improve campaign strategies. Really, and if you think about it, I mean, to be informal, the really cool thing about this is we as marketers have challenges. Our CFOs right now have investor mindsets. Their desire to invest, that attention span is smaller and smaller. So by doing this, by producing the insights in AMC, by building what we think are the right journeys, testing those in with content, different content variations and offers, you can start to future-proof campaigns.
And I think, last question on using the first-party data, unlocking value, when you kind of get up to the CX layer and you want to personalize that experience, I know you mentioned about offers, personalizing the right offer, giving them the right next best action. How does that kind of come to life from a CX perspective? Are you using like AI and ML models in addition to the data in order to personalize the CX?
Oh yeah, unstructured and structured data, absolutely. There's really no other way to do it. If you think about it, if you purchase coffee from an app, right? You might purchase in the morning, you might purchase in the afternoon. And you might be a high value member or low value member. I mean, I go to the same coffee place every day for breakfast. Yeah, the only way to do it is through AI and ML, which predictive. And if you start to inject more data there, like we have a client who has a streaming platform, and by doing just that and injecting weather data through some video, the results were like 20% higher. So that we've moved past this notion of not using it to really dynamically serve the marketer's needs, but we're now also moving into how not to send an offer to somebody who shouldn't get it, to avoid double discounting and things like that.
And Emily, when you see the use cases for customers that are partnering with Amazon, what are some of the use cases that you start seeing for like clean rooms and data collaboration so that they can overlay their data on Amazon data?
Yeah, I think it really, it spans the whole advertising life cycle, right? From insights to planning to activation to measurement. I think it's really about working backwards from the marketer's marketing goals and the brand's marketing goals, but also just their overall business goals as well, and really focusing on what they want to learn. I think if we take the example of kind of that travel and hospitality customer, let's say maybe maybe it's a hotel chain, and they want to better understand their first-party audiences and really, to Chris's point of having that investor mindset, they want to optimize their advertising. They want to minimize waste as much as possible, right? So they're going to say, okay, maybe I've seen just my overall purchases or conversions stays kind of decrease over the last 6 months. I want to learn more about that. Are my customers just traveling less because of the economy? Are they shifting to another hotel? So let me collaborate through a clean room with an airline. Okay, great. Not super competitive there. They can collaborate and learn more about their joint customers together. So maybe that hotel chain learns that their customers are still traveling and they're just not staying with them. Okay, are they staying in an Airbnb or are they staying at a competitor hotel chain? And so if they want to go back and get those customers back within their brand portfolio, they can then go take those customers who are not staying with them anymore, but who are maybe the airline's customers, leverage clean rooms to privacy safe way, activate those audiences with Amazon ads or another media partner, and then measure that from an optimization perspective to make sure, was the campaign actually successful? Did I bring people back to my brand? Or is there something else that I need to look into?
I know another challenge that marketers have is that there's increasing pressure to try to automate and use AI and ML to create more scalable marketing platforms, creating bespoke audiences and business rules for each audience and segmenting that and personalizing that at scale is really rough if you have to do it with manual business rules. So how is Amazon advertising using AI and ML to improve the marketer experience when they're planning their campaigns?
I think there's a couple different facets of that. I'll start with probably the coolest, sexiest, hottest topic first is from a Gen AI perspective, of course, from a content creation. So video and image generation for your advertising using just a basic product image and then saying, I want to, maybe you're a CPG brand, I want to put this in a kitchen, I want to see, we're in October, I want to see fall kind of decorations behind it. And then having that from a content perspective, much easier than having your creative team and your creative agency go and spend many, many man hours building that. But also helpful from an optimization perspective to be able to do a lot of little tweaks on that and then test those creatives. So that's certainly, I would say, kind of the coolest Gen AI use case with Amazon ads. But really, ML and AI has been in Amazon, as you know, Paul, very well. It's been on our DNA since the founding of Amazon. powers all of our e-com, powers Alexa. And so really we've kind of infused that in Amazon advertising. It's in all of our optimizations from our DSP perspective and how we optimize on the back end. And then we're also doing some really cool things within Amazon Marketing Cloud again, where customers can use ML models to create lookalike audiences. And so using Amazon authored audience or Amazon authored models to do that, I think is really exciting.
That's a great example. In the adoption of clean rooms is relatively new. I mean, there are multiple clean rooms out there, depending on which partner you're working with. So when you think about which industries are you starting to see early adopters? Obviously CPGs, because they don't have a lot of first-party data, and they absolutely need, their partners in order to better understand the consumer as they traverse all these various channels that they don't necessarily own. But maybe you can give some examples of some industries and customer types that have really benefited from clean rooms. Absolutely.
I think, like you said, CPG and retail, off the bat, especially with Amazon Ads and Amazon Marketing Cloud, it's a huge adopter of it. I think there's, the example of a CPG who maybe doesn't have a ton of first-party data, but does still have maybe a small D2C channel, and how they could use their small D2C channel and their first-party data that they have there through clean rooms to leave their data where it stays on AWS, partner with Amazon Ads through Amazon Marketing Cloud, and still get those rich insights about what their customers are purchasing on Amazon and how they're purchasing on Amazon. Or understand maybe if there's a D2C purchaser who's now, doing subscribe and save on Amazon. And so it's not necessarily just a lost customer. So I think from a retail perspective, it's really interesting, the rich insights and how they can enrich their first-party data and expand it that way. There's also, as you think about just all of the retail data that is available through Amazon, thinking about how you could optimize for out of stock on Amazon and understanding, okay, if I'm out of stock of a product, maybe I want to turn down my media on that and I don't want to be running media, so that somebody goes to Amazon and they go, oh, just kidding, can't actually buy that. So a ton of use cases with a retail and CPG and just sellers on Amazon in general. I also think we're seeing a ton with industries like financial service because of that kind of privacy safe focus of clean rooms and really the control that it gives brands about how they're using their data, who that data is shared with at a user level. It really is making the financial services customers pretty happy.
Yeah, I think once Amazon started selling Prime Video ads, upper funnel brand awareness is now in the mix. So it definitely opens up a whole new set of industry partners, from travel and hospitality to healthcare and life sciences and biopharma.
Yeah, and it's really, thinking about the vast touch points that Amazon has as a whole and how that plays into our advertising signals. Obviously, we want to know what people are buying on Amazon, and that's super telling about our customers. But at the same time, what they're watching on Prime Video, what they're reading on their Kindle, what they're buying at Whole Foods when they go in for their grocery shopping. So really, when you put together that rich view of a customer across all of these touch points in their daily lives, you get this really complete picture that's more telling than just, oh yeah, they bought that.
We're just to build on that, the reason why I'm excited, what resonates for me, what I'm really excited about is it's here. So this is really the first time that the technology is powering the integration in a single data location, privacy, media, identity resolution, web, CRM, loyalty, and to some degree offline with whatever is harvested. But it's connected. And so if you really take a step back, we're at a time where this together enables marketers to be very creative and think about different strategies for data collaboration. I have product A, you have product B. Do we create some sort of an arrangement to push on that further? When you think about CRM and loyalty, they're kind of generally one way. Loyalty can be two-way if it's gamified. If there's a game you can play, you can get points. But the great thing about it is through a data collaboration, brands can now, it's like 10 years ago, there was the coalitions that were created that were very painful and hard to do. Now you can create a collaboration with different brands, 2, 3, 4, 5 brands, create a coalition in a compliant way that makes sense for you, and it creates the experience. It presents an opportunity for you as a marketer to have fresh experiences. So we see not all of them, but credit card loyalty programs can if it's for automotive, it's going to be set and forget. If it's Capital One, you're going to try to spend those points any way you can, right? But how do you keep the brand experience fresh? How do you create partnerships with different partners in a compliant way that's right for the consumer and it's right for you to drive deeper and deeper engagement? And that's what consumers want. I mean, if you look at the research, it's amazing. They believe that brands are people. But there's a big gap between what the consumer expects from personalization and what the brand's able to do. And so by creating more content velocity, different types of partnerships, really we're here now, and the creativity and the options are exciting.
Actually, I think Chris has a couple of questions for me. So I wanted to provide a little bit of an AWS perspective on how we're using data collaboration in clean rooms to drive value for marketers.
So what are the primary use cases that a marketer would be most interested in from AMC?
So similar to, if you think about Amazon advertising, building their own clean room, right, in order to overlay your data on Amazon data to create more effective campaigns, our customers want to do the same thing, right? So now AWS has built a service that allows you to stand up your own clean room. It's a self-service clean room. You can configure it and set it up. You can decide which partners you want to work with. You can invite up to 5 different partners to your collaboration. Once you set up your collaboration, you can match your data up against your partner's data. And what are some of the use cases? Sometimes it's like, I just want to understand, like, should I even be partnering with this other company, right? What's the overlap of my data with my partner's data? Are they a good partner for me to be able to create unique audiences or unique value for one of either at the experience or at the campaign layer? And so it's a good way to research and kind of kick the tires on your partner. And then once you've done that, then you can actively create custom audiences using machine learning models. Maybe I have a golden customer, and I want to find more golden customers, but I don't own all those channels. So the only way I'm going to reach that customer is if I collaborate with someone who actually has more signal and data about those customers that I want to create a better experience for. So it's used for creating audience models, lookalike modeling, and then for activation and for measurement. So once you actually create an audience, now you want to target that audience. Maybe it's targeting it with that channel partner. And then you want to measure the effectiveness of your campaign. So very similar to what Amazon advertising is, we're kind of democratizing clean rooms to allow marketers, agencies, ISVs to set up their own clean room capabilities. And that's really the power of AWS, is really kind of democratizing that. And I think we're still early days in the clean room space. So I think it's a great opportunity for AWS to step in.
I know, Paul, you and I both mentioned machine learning for audience creation and lookalikes. I think from the ads perspective, we see an opportunity to also use the outputs from Amazon Marketing Cloud to analyze that with machine learning through different AWS tools, or even to layer almost like Gen BI on that and do, rather than having to rely on your data science team to create dashboards for you. How can you use AWS services in the Gen AI, Gen BI space to democratize that across maybe an agency who doesn't have a data scientist on every single account that they own or that they work for?
That's a great question. So we're doing a bunch of different things in the AI and ML space to make it easier for the marketer. So one would be, I want to get insights, or I want to create audiences. But I want to use like a conversational assistant, right? I don't want to write a SQL query. I'm a marketer. Unless I pay my agency to do it or hire someone to create SQL queries. So we built a service called Amazon Q, which essentially it's a Gen AI service that allows you to have a contextual conversation with your data. and ask questions about your data to get insights. You could also use it to do modeling. We have a whole ML and AI platform called SageMaker with something called SageMaker Canvas for marketers. They can actually create their own models without having to be a data scientist. So I think the whole idea here is to make it easier for the marketer and their agencies to start leveraging these tools to then make it actionable, rather than, having to, and then actually decrease the time to value for those insights.
Very cool.
I've got one more question for you.
Sure.
But I want you to go a little deeper on this, if you would be so kind. How are the offices of the CMO and the CIO coming together? Right, things are moving fast, right?
Yeah, it's a big challenge. So if you think about AWS, you think, well, typically cloud computing, right? You've got a relationship with the CIO, the CTO, but are you really talking to marketers? When's the last time a marketer in here had a conversation with an AWS account manager? If you raise your hand. Okay.
I see a 0.
0. Okay. So we have these relationships, right? Everybody's moving to cloud computing. We're working with all the enterprise CIOs and CTOs to help accelerate that transformation. And a lot of the data that you are using as a marketer sits in your enterprise data store, right? Customer data, zero-party, first-party, second, third-party data. So we're working with not only the IT department and the CTO, but working with Salesforce, and we're working with Adobe, and we're working with all those partners that you're running your MarTech and AdTech on. And it's likely already running on AWS. So the power that AWS can bring is we can democratize data and AI and ML, make it easier for you to leverage that data and do it in a privacy-compliant way, and also working with the IT and the CTO as well. So I think the way we kind of bring that together is like supporting the CTO and the CIO, and then bridging the conversation. And often it will include an agency partner like a Merkle Dentsu as a good example. Like, it's usually the agency and maybe a global system integrator who's working with your IT department to transform your MarTech or AdTech stack. And so that's where AWS is kind of helping power that and doing it with cloud computing.
Thanks. I mean, we do a fair amount of value realization and outcomes work and transformation on what the high value use cases are. And without a good technology partner there, things tend to slow down quite a bit because the CTO, CIO are coming in and owning more of those use cases, especially with AI and machine learning.
And Emily, you think about this partnership. We've got AWS, Amazon advertising, Merkle Dentsu as an agency. Is that like a model that you see a lot with your customers, where it's not just one party, like IT is not going to get you there, marketing maybe not get you there on your own, but you might need partners as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think in my role specifically, it's really all about bringing data that's stored in AWS to advertising and marketing and making those solutions work a lot better together. And when we go to talk to brands and advertisers, we kind of get to the end of the meeting and they go, "This sounds great, but I have nobody in-house who knows how to do this. I have no resources to deploy it. And this is a lot of work to connect between marketing and IT internally." And so at that point, a lot of the time we do bring in their agency and we say, they have the resources, they know how to do this. They are kind of that thought leader that really does connect well across IT and marketing, and just given the space that especially those that Merkle sit in, where you're already kind of working in that arena, it makes it a pretty seamless engagement when you do start to bring in the agency partner. And I think it also helps when you can find almost that internal champion within a brand that maybe isn't the most technical, but can act as that translation layer between the two organizations. I know just working with the AWS all the time, I almost do this from an Amazon Ads and AWS perspective, acting as that translation layer, because we're speaking two totally different languages. And so having that, whether it's an internal champion or your agency act in that role, I think is really helpful.
And Chris, you kind of represent Merkle and Dentsu. How did you partner together? You're a MarTech advisory. You also do media. I
mean, through solutions like this, right? So we, generally speaking, focus on media, content velocity, creative, and CX. Our point of view is it's the same customer. And I think the collaboration can be challenging, but it's really rewarding when you have a brand with an extended purchase funnel, phygital, digital, and physical. There's quite a bit of collaboration, but it seamlessly works together. The key here, I think, is re-envisioning clean room away from a tech topic to a data collaboration strategy and audience insights. And I think that accelerates the collaboration.
Okay, I think we got a few minutes for questions from the audience for either Chris or Emily, myself. I have a question for you. How many people have a clean room set up in their MarTech environment or ad tech environment today? Maybe you don't know you have a clean room and you actually have one. I guarantee you're probably using one. You may not. Your agency may be using one, unbeknownst to you. But anyway, I think this is how many people have a customer data platform, first-party data platform, where you're storing consumer data? No CDPs out there. One. Anyone else? A couple more. Okay. Yeah, so I would say we're seeing a lot of acceleration of brands moving to these first-party data platforms and then integrating them with their clean rooms so they can better understand these consumers as third-party cookies are going away. Eventually, Google keeps kind of going back and forth, but, you can't depend on them. So you need your first-party data, and then you need your partner data as well. So I would say that most brands either have a CRM, a loyalty program, or a first-party data platform, and many of them are experimenting with clean rooms. So I think you'll see a lot of value in the future, and we're going to see some more examples of this afternoon as we go through some other sessions with some of our other partners that are using clean rooms as well. So thanks, Emily. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.